Good evening, Australia. This is Denise Walsh here. I'm an Ambassador Diamond with It Works, and I'm excited to be here with you tonight. We dedicate this time to you and your team a few times a month for us to just connect, get to know you, do some training, and connect. So I'm very excited that you chose to take time out of your evening to be with us. We have a very, very special guest with us tonight. Before we get started, I am going to start with Steps to Success. Steps to Success is the duplicatable system that we use with It Works. So if you are a new distributor with us tonight, welcome to the It Works team. This is how you build your business. Number one, join Boost Party. Get started with It Works. Get your ADBV auto ship up and running and order your products. Step two is to get more with 4, which means we want you to start gathering customers. We recommend that you gather or that you schedule at least 2 personal parties in your first few weeks in the business so you can start wrapping people, you can start talking about the products, get to practicing, and start your presentation and gather those 4 customers. And when you gather 4 customers in your first 30 days, you earn 120 BV in free products, and you get some wrap rewards. Wrap rewards means every time you gather 2 customers, you get a box of wraps at a discounted price. And so gathering those loyal customers in your first few months in the business is really, really key. We want you to start seeing success quickly. And then step 3 is go Ruby. We want you not only to start creating your list of those that might be interested and in trying the product and becoming a customer, but we want you to start creating your list of those who need some additional income that might want to do this business with you, be on this journey with you. Start creating that list and start talking to people about the business. When you focus on promotion and you focus on getting to the position of Ruby, typical Rubies make $599 each month with this company. What would $599 do for you or your friend? So start thinking about that. Start creating your list of those who would be interested in joining you on this journey and get them invested in your business as well. Take them through Steps to Success. Have them sign up, order their product, get qualified with that ADBV auto ship, schedule their parties, gather their customers, and have them focus on Ruby as well. And this is how your team grows. This is how your team duplicates. And this, we've been doing this business for quite a few years now, and the teams that start and end with Steps to Success are the ones that are building. So we certainly always want to start with that, because this, again, is the system for, people will say to me, what do I do? This is what you do. You start and end with Steps to Success, and you teach your team to do the same. The other thing that we recommend, guys, is we recommend getting your people to events. And I'm so, so excited that we have Mike Potillo on the line with us tonight, and he's going to talk to us about some of the upcoming events we have going on in Australia. I'm going to show you a few things before I unmute him and we get him going. But if you go to the My It Works calendar, if you go to your It Works website, at the bottom of your website, you will see a calendar of events, and go to August. This is how you register. We have several events coming to Perth, Sydney, and the Gold Coast here, and this is for you. This is to build your team, and so certainly utilize these events. Corporate is coming, and we want to get the word out, and Mike's going to tell us a little bit about what all of these events are going to be about. So Mike, are you on the line?
Hey, thanks, Denise. I appreciate you having me on this morning. Hopefully I'm coming through loud and clear. Hello, everyone in Australia. I know it's exciting for me to be able to talk to you this morning a little bit about, the one team, one mission events that are coming to Australia. And, as Denise bringing up the map right now, and, we have the Perth event on the 28th, Sydney on the 29th, and then, of course, we have the Gold Coast, the end of the month and the first day of the month of September. So we're really, really excited about getting down there. I know that, when I look at everything, I always try to put myself in the people's shoes that I'm speaking with. And, as I go around the country with, Mark Pentecost, other leaders, Pam Souter, and, what's really good for the company is to constantly, be out there talking to people, seeing, okay, how can we continue to come together more as one team? And really, what that means to me is that everybody in the world, no matter if you're Australia, Canada, U.S., Europe, wherever we may be open for business, everybody has, basic concepts and core building beliefs like Denise just talked about. The steps to success, they don't change no matter where you're at. But we obviously have, different needs based upon different cultures. We're all it works way, the friendships, fun, and freedom in one culture, but I know that, as we go over hurdles here in the U.S. on some things, Europe may not be experiencing those, and as Australia, is going through some things, the U.S. might not be experiencing those. So I'm excited to be on here today, kind of as a first opening webinar before we attend the One Team, One Mission event in Australia. And what I'm excited about is that right now, what I really see these webinars for is to really talk about this one to be more asking you for your help, as opposed to answering questions and getting into a lot of different topics. And really what I'd like you to do is really look at your business today. Think about it. I'm not sure exactly what time it may be, depending on what part of the country you may be in, but really look at your business today and say, number one, am I really focused? Am I really focused on steps to success? Am I using outside distractions in life or in business or people or work or whatever it may be to get in my way of having success? Or am I focused on those steps to success? Because, that's the one question that I find myself constantly that I have to ask, people as I go around the world is, are you really focused? Are you focused on your business? Do you have goals? And are you working towards those goals through our simple system? Because so many times I talk to people and they say, well, what about this and what about that? And, can you believe this is happening? And, oh, my goodness, what about this? And, my question always goes back first to what are you spending your time on? Where are you focused? Where's your time, your energy, your effort? Where are those things going into? And a lot of times when we find out it's going to other places. It's putting my energy over here, putting my effort in someone who's really maybe not interested in the business. Maybe they're more interested in becoming a customer. They're not interested in becoming that ruby, and then working up to develop rubies to become that diamond and so on. And, that's a question I always ask everybody as we're getting ready to come into an area. And, this week I'm going to be in Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, and as Pam and I go out there, and I've been talking to a few leaders that, and upcoming leaders that have asked, hey, what should I be doing right now? What should I be doing at this event, before this event, during this event? And my number one thing is, what are you focusing on? What are you spending your time on? Are you really strictly focusing on our system, or are things and situations and circumstances, are they really distracting you? So that's what I'd ask you to do, kind of number one. And number two, to help me out as we come to Australia, the purpose of our One Team, One Mission tour is really, it's really two things. Number one, we want the distributors to be able to invite guests. This is the second thing is we want to get to know you. I want to talk to you, hear from you, have some coffee with you, find out about you, learn about you, see how we can help you. But we have to remember the purpose of the event first is about guests. Because, the reason that, you take time, I take time to come down there, we organize events, we put them together, it's really about growing your business. We want to keep your business. Everybody wants strong retention, so you want to focus on, how do I keep my business? But we always want to look toward the future. How can we grow your business? So, the entire presentation, it'll be a little different than maybe what you're used to. I like to do things a little different. But, we're gonna look at things and say, how can we impact the guest first? And what it turns into is that if there aren't a lot of guests there, your business can't grow as fast when somebody else is presenting. So what I would encourage you to do, number one, for the event is invite guests in the local area. So if we're in Perth first, It doesn't matter if you're in the Gold Coast or Brisbane or South Australia or wherever you may be. Maybe you're in Melbourne. Ask yourself, who do I know in Perth? Who do I know that may know someone in Perth? And really focus on getting people that are guests registered for the Perth event. Because what can happen is that fire can kind of grow. When you have excitement in one place that starts out, that's going to carry over to the next day in Sydney. And do the same thing. Who do you know in Sydney? Because a lot of times what I find is when we go around, and I've been doing this for many, many years, is people focus on the day that they're going to the event. So maybe they're going to be at the Gold Coast event, and all they think about is the Gold Coast event, when in all reality what we have to focus on is how do I continue building my business? And that's driving towards every event. And so I know obviously maybe you don't know anybody in Portland, Oregon, but at the same time, with the internet, with Facebook, with so many other things, you want to drive people to events. So, that would be the number one thing to focus on for this event is guests, because the presentation will be tailored toward guests. There really won't be, a question and answer session during the meeting. That'll be after the meeting, and we'll be able to get together with distributors and sit down and answer questions and find out things. And that really brings me to the second part of the agenda for coming to Australia, and that is to really find out how can It Works Global improve in Australia. But what I want to do is use this as a positive time prior to coming there to figure out what questions, what things, how can we put some things in the pipeline. Because I'm kind of relatively new to this organization, to the team in Australia, and I know that I've talked to a few of you, but not a whole lot. And what I want to do is make sure that the time is well spent for you and for me to be able to, how can we move your business forward with guests, and then two, how can we move your business forward with other items that essentially affect your business that may be specific to Australia, like shipping, things like that. So what I would ask you to do is, after today and focusing on your business, really, looking inside yourself and saying, I've probably really not focused and built my business the way I should have. I let distractions get in the way. And, what I've learned is that a lot of things that we feel like are going to hinder our business, we allow them to do it because we think about them a whole lot. So focus on that. And then number two, really see, what are things that, I feel like could really move my business forward. Because what I want to do is address as many things as we can and talk about them prior to coming to Australia, so we can work on having solutions as opposed to questions whenever we're on the ground in Perth, in Sydney, and on the Gold Coast. So, I'm going to be setting up with the help of, other leaders in Australia, as well as Denise, other webinars coming up over the next few weeks that we may open, and we'll open up question and answer, things like that, so we can really dig into things. Because again, what is this event for? What is the One Team, One Mission for? It's really to help you build your business. The presentation tailored for guests, and and right now, that's what you need to be focusing on. You need to get your team there. Number one, let them know, come be there. Actually, my wife's coming with me, my daughter's coming. And it's going to be very exciting for us just to be able to, to meet you. This is our first time in Australia, so we've been all over the world, but never been down there. So, we're very excited about that. And just be asking yourself, who do I know in Perth? Who do I know in Sydney? Who do I know on the Gold Coast? And start inviting people. OneTeamOneMission.com is the website that you can go and register. And I believe the prices from hearing from people, they seem very, very reasonable for what you're going to get in time-wise to be able to sit down and learn, and the guests hear everything. Thank you for bringing that up. You're going to be able to not only see the presentation of It Works, but we'll also spend time after the presentation. We'll take a short break, and we'll come back and we'll go through the steps to success. We'll have some fun. I promise you it will be fun. If it wasn't, I wouldn't be going. It will be a good time, and you will learn things. You're going to learn things like I guess I need you to think about it this way. Not everybody is like you. Think about that for a second. You know, it's a concept that some of us have to really work on because we think, of course, everyone is like me. I'm perfect, and you know, we have to get over that a little bit. And you know, so I'm going to share some things that'll help you kind of jump over that barrier of, you know, a lot of times they don't understand that other people think differently. And what I do is I'm very open. I listen a lot. And what we like to do is after we show a presentation that works global, you know, we're going to have some giveaways and some fun things, and it's going to be fantastic. And then we'll do a little bit of training, you know, on the steps of success. We'll definitely cover that first because I'm a big believer, just like Denise, of you have to focus on the foundation before you go into anything else. Because if you've not mastered the steps to success, how can you teach it? Think about that. You know, how can you really be effective in teaching the steps to success if you've not mastered them? So if you can't, you know, pop off step number one, man, we want to create some friendships, join, boost, party, you know, set that up. Number two, you know, get more with four, have some fun, have a party, go in, create some cash with the wraps, and then go in Ruby, step number three, creating that freedom for your life. If you've not mastered that, we need to focus on that and that alone. And so many times, you know, too many people want to jump ahead and they want to find out, well, what about this and what about this situation? And I always go back to the basics. And sometimes that's frustrating for people that want to really move fast, but they haven't accomplished the basics first. And, you know, I was meeting with some folks last night, and they started asking me questions about the compensation plan. And I immediately went to, well, we have 3 simple steps. And they looked at me kind of with glazed eyes over because they wanted to know what this paid on this level and this percentage. And I said, I absolutely won't go into that with you because you don't know our steps to success first. So you have to focus on that. And as we go around from Perth to Sydney to Gold Coast, you know, you'll continue to hear that. And what I would encourage you to do is, you know, be at many events as you can and get as many people there as you can, not just distributors, but guests that want to find out, you know, how they can benefit from It Works Global coming in to Australia. And obviously right now we'll go over before we get there, you know, some people had some confusion on, you know, our registration process in Australia and how all of that works. And, you know, I'm going to go through in the next couple of weeks. We'll set up another webinar. I've got a little bit of a crazy travel schedule this week, but maybe the week after we can set one up to where we can really outline the things you can do. And so many times people get caught up in words and, well, if this is a U.S. company, things are different here. And, you know, I know people in Australia that, you know, may not be a part of It Works or maybe in other companies, of course, you know, their agenda is always to discredit and do things like that. I don't know why people do that, but that's just the way people are, unfortunately. And they say, oh, well, you can't do this because this is a U.S. company and this is how they ship in products. And, you know, what's very exciting for me is really just kind of to lay everything out for you as a distributor, as a leader, as a potential leader in our company, that here's how you would build your business. You know, if I lived in Australia, here's how I would build my business. And, you know, and that's what we really want to get into on some upcoming webinars so people really understand, you know, the commitment that It Works has to Australia. I mean, obviously we're going through some things right now with shipping, and we're going through it, you know, all over the world. So it's affecting a lot of people. However, I always tell people I'd much rather have a supply problem than a demand problem. And you think about that, it's just very true. So it's one of those seasons that we go through in business, and we're very, very close to getting back to normal. But you know, it's still a few weeks, and you know what I'm excited about is, you know, how do we work through that? How do we focus and build into an event? And you know, I'm excited about getting down there. One thing that, you know, we'll definitely cover is how do you build your business in Australia as an Australian or someone living in Australia with a United States company. people that, are Australian businesses, they obviously feel like they have advantages, and American companies have disadvantages, and I would actually candidly, very honestly, and very forthrightly say I disagree with that. And, I'll go over some things in some upcoming webinars on, the benefits of, our loyal customer program. And if you're not taking advantage of that and you're looking at it in one way, how you can look at it from another way. And I know that, I shared some concepts and some philosophies with some distributors the other day by phone or by Skype. And, they were looking at the loyal customer program as a negative way. We have to commit to 3 months. And it's all about your perspective. If you have that perspective, then your people will have that perspective. And what I shared with them is, the great thing is you're working smarter, not harder. They were caught up and they were thinking in their mind that, having to send people and not be able to sell their product over and over and over and over to someone, they look at that as a bad thing. And, I shared with them, I said, do you want to constantly be servicing your customers, or do you want to create a customer one time, by kind of exploring that market over there, wrapping someone, taking the money for wrapping someone, making some profit there, and then sending them to a website so they can do the work themselves, so they can create an order and they can automatically get that order shipped to them, and then you can simply collect the check. And I think that there's things like that that we can go over on a marketing call that will really help you impact your business. I'm actually starting to compile a lot of questions that I received from some of our members there, and I'm going to go through, and obviously I got questions the last 48 hours, and I haven't had time to get all the answers from some perspectives, and then I've got some things putting together to really show you how you can build your business, specifically with It Works Global, the way that we're open in Australia. So I'm excited about that. Denise, that's really what I wanted to share, is just a little bit about this event, what's going to be upcoming over the next 2-3 weeks from It Works Global, specifically from me on my perspective coming there, and how can we continue to make things better prior to getting there, answering questions prior to getting there, so we can really focus on building the business when we're on the ground.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mike. I think I didn't give him a proper introduction, and so I'm going to share with you a little bit about what I have learned about Mike over the last few years and why you really want to get your people in front of him. Mike Potillo has been with It Works for over a year now and has joined Pam in traveling the nation. He was put in charge of as director of sales, and can you tell that it has worked? We asked Mike to come in and help give us a boost in sales, and goodness, we've 400% growth in the last few months, and he has a strong background. He's been in this industry for 10 plus years, and he's a great speaker. I know I've talked to several of my team members, and they still remember stories that he has told on stage within the first few times that we met him. And so you'll find that Mike is very dynamic. He has a lot of experience and wisdom. He's been through companies that have gone through this momentum phase and have come out on the other side strong. And so he's bringing a lot of that knowledge to It Works. We're very blessed to have him. And when we're in Australia, corporate is coming for you. I really want you to recognize that you are the It Works leaders in Australia. There's been a lot of growth in the past year, and corporate has been coming once a year or so to do some meetings and to meet with you and their team. And so really take ownership of these meetings. We will be in Perth, we will be in Sydney, we will be in the Gold Coast north of Brisbane, and this is for you. So get your teams there, get guests there, and use these events to build your business. And I certainly appreciate, Mike, your offer to do a webinar where we can really just get into the nitty-gritty and start asking questions and things. And so we'll work together on that. We typically have 2 webinars a month, the second Monday of the month and the 4th Tuesday. So we're looking at July 24th would be our next scheduled webinar, and we can talk about if that if that works for you, and we'll get that out to the masses as well. I'm going to look and scroll through and see if there's any questions here that we're getting. Certainly you guys can post questions throughout the webinar, and I think that we have answered most of them. Mike, anything you want to add before we say goodnight?
Yeah, just you brought up a couple things in my mind that I want to address real quick, and that is I'm really glad I didn't know the dates on things. I think the 24th may work, and that'll give me some time to. Of course, we're on the road next week. We have Green Carpet Diamond Day the week after, and then I'm in Minnesota and in Indiana the next week. But the 24th, I'm at home, so I could probably make that work. And if you collect questions, if you send however your Australian team contacts you, you can put together one email and forward the questions on to me. I received, I know you got copied on some other questions that some leaders had sent over, and I'm going to go through that over the next week and really dig into it. And the great thing I constantly hear from my friends down in Australia and our team leaders with It Works that Australians are very direct. And I am so glad you are, because that's how I work. I like to get into it. Let's get the question answered, get the root of the question. Let's not beat around the bush. And I'll always answer you very candidly, very quickly, and very honestly, and not beat around the bush. I will give you my opinion on things based upon 13 plus years in this industry, creating millions and millions and millions of dollars. In income, and I always feel like I have to share what I truly believe works, and I'll never share something with you that hasn't been proven, and really hasn't been proven by me, because what I don't want to do is go on theory. And I think that a lot of times as I travel around, people always ask me, they say, Mike, you're very direct. When I get off stage and we talk a little bit and we have private meetings, I like to get right into it, because ultimately my ultimate goal when I come to the One Team, One Mission tours, whether it's in, Perth or Portland or wherever it may be, ultimately what we want to do is we want to impact your business positively as fast as we can, so you can continue growing and continue changing your life. This industry has completely changed my life, my family, and we've worked really hard. We've worked really dumb, and we've also worked really smart. And what I want to do is take, my dumb experience, so to speak, and really let you not know those bad things. Let's get over the hurdles. Let's focus on working smarter and working together smarter. And you'll find out that, accepting successful people, their advice, their mantras, their missions, like Denise and Cammie and different people in the company that have really just continued to lay the groundwork for success, you're going to have more success. And, I always learned a long time ago that if you model after someone that has already come before you and they're having success, don't just model how they build the business, model how they live their life. And, I can tell you this, I think about Denise, the time that I've known her, she's never called me and complained, not one time. It's always, how do we do this? How do we move this forward? I'm thinking about this. And then I would call her sometimes, say, hey, how do we do this? How do we do that? Successful people, we always talk about how we're moving forward. And that's exactly what we'll be doing down there in Australia. And we'll get into some nitty-gritty, some questions, and really lay things out so we can have things addressed and have you moving forward well before we get down there in person, so we can really focus on growing your business from that point on. So, Denise, I've got time for a couple questions if there are any. If we've already answered them for today, we'll definitely plug into the next webinar to answer more.
Absolutely. Thank you, Mike. I think, guys, get your questions to your upline leader, and we can all compile them together so we can go through a list, and we'll have the next webinar be July 24th at 9 p.m. Sydney time, and so Mike will be on our next our next Australian webinar, we will open this up to other teams too. We want to make sure that we are one team, one mission, and that the word is getting out to the masses. So we'll make sure that I'll get the link out pretty quick here so you guys can get everybody focused on that. And so if you have some questions regarding It Works in Australia and how things are going, how things work, and the direction that It Works is taking in Australia, then get those to your upline leader and they will get those to me and we'll compile that list. And Mike, I'd like to have that list to you a day or so before the event, even if not before the weekend, so we've got time to really answer and compile answers if we have to talk to some people. So if you guys can work on that and get me a list of questions, let's say maybe the Friday before the call, then we can work to compile those answers. There are times when we need to get we need to ask Wally or Mark or things ourselves. So if we have a few days, then that will be helpful. But I think that this is going to be a great time for us to all come together as one team, one mission. We all have the same goal. We all want to build your business, and we want we want It Works to be all over the map, and you're the guys, you're the team to take them there. So Mike, thank you so much for your time this morning. I know you have guests in town, so we so appreciate you. We will be recording these specific calls because we know that we want our teams to hear it. So thank you guys. Have a wonderful night, and we will be back here on July 24th, 9 p.m. Sydney time with Mike, and we will spend time at that webinar answering questions and really digging in into the meat of some things. So have a great night. Thank you, Mike.
Thank you, Denise. Goodbye, everyone.
Goodbye.